the camera looking? All right. Well, it looks like the jury is deadlocked, but we're going to see what's going on, making sure everything sounds and looks good. Can everybody hear me? Oh, Winky. Hi, Winky. Hey, buddy. Hello, how are you doing? What? I wasn't talking to you, Winky. So we went live. We just heard there was an update to the trial, and we are seeing what the verdict is. It looks like it might be a deadlock, but let's find out right now. We're just getting the fan view, which it looks like they've changed the camera layout. I like what they did with it. All right. We're gonna make sure that everything is good too. We kind of got caught at the last second. Janice, how's your Monday going? And has anybody heard the what was said? Because from what I heard is that they were deadlocked, but they were bringing them back in for the verdict. But I'm not 100% sure that that is what I heard specifically. What was that? They changed the view of the fan too.
Oh, look at that. Now we get a fan, part of a chandelier, and a smoke detector. And a cat.
It's a chandelier, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
seriously. Like, licks me, drives me crazy. He was like licking me last night. It was so gross.
Now, Winky, don't look at me. You're the one that did it.
I think pretty much everyone's on Twitter. Are we streaming to Twitter?
Yeah, it says we have 352 viewers, but I don't think that's correct.
I do.
All right.
Because last time when we were streaming on Twitter, just random chat, we only had like 2 viewers. So this is Karen Reed stuff. So
Yeah. Well, if anybody's on Twitter, say hi in the chat for us. Let us know you're alive.
I don't know if Twitter works like.
Are you alive? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Does it?
Mm-hmm. I tested it.
Like jumping right out of the shower.
It's weird how it works. You've got to you have to hit it a few different ways. You can't just. And every time I try, it always screws up.
You gotta show pictures of puppies.
Yeah, here you go. And then when I hit test, boop. There it goes.
Oh, cool. Oh my goodness. We're gonna have that cult joining our live stream. Doxing us. We made a cult angry.
I was wondering. I was wondering if that was actually the thought that I had too. The shower thoughts this morning.
Yeah, this cult is angry at us.
No, they're not there yet. Soon.
We have angered a cult.
Angered a cult.
Which I don't know if I should. I think I need to call the Indiana State Police tip line and just say something.
Yeah.
Because what if this person actually does know where Bryson is?
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Here we go.
As we stare at a fan.
The fan knows all.
Are we going to figure out which? Is it just one person or 2 people that think she's guilty?
So the theory that I saw was it's one. And they're basing it off of polls and research and common sense. And those 3 things usually don't coincide with one another. So I have a feeling it's 1, maybe 2. That's my theory. I mean, I don't know that for sure. So, but
I think it's just one person. I did see on Twitter I saw it on YouTube this morning. The rumor is there's an ex-cop on the.
I told you. There's someone on there that was like, is a cop, was a cop, or is related to a cop, and I think everybody is
in Boston. Yeah, everyone's related to a cop there.
My second cousin, 3 times removed, was a cop, kind of thing. Yeah.
Say hi to your mom for me.
Yeah. The stereotypes are real. I should have tried going live on Facebook.
Well, it said we had to have 100.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna look that up because I'm wondering if it's 2 months or 100.
The fan was just talking.
What?
We missed it.
Oh man, it's moving.
Here. Oh, we're moving. We're going back to the jury. Back to the judge. Here she is.
Court is in session. Please be seated.
All right. So, jurors, I am in receipt of your note. Judge Cannoni, despite our commitment to the duty entrusted to us, We find ourselves deeply divided by fundamental differences in our opinions and state of mind. The divergence in our views are not rooted in a lack of understanding or effort, but deeply held convictions that each of us carry, ultimately leading to a point where consensus is unattainable.
Wow.
We recognize the weight of this admission and the implications it holds. So, Mr. Foreman and members of the jury, I have an instruction for you. Our Constitution and laws provide that in a criminal case, the principal method for deciding questions of fact is the verdict of a jury. In most cases, and perhaps strictly speaking in all cases, absolute certainty cannot be attained, nor is it expected. The verdict to which each juror agrees must, of course, be his or her own verdict, the result of his or her own convictions, and not merely an acquiescence in the conclusions of the other jurors. Still, in order to bring 12 minds to a unanimous result, you must examine the issues you have to decide with candor and with a proper regard and respect for each other's opinions. You should consider that it is desirable that this case be decided. You have been selected in the same manner and from the same source as any future jury would be selected. There is no reason to suppose that this case will ever be submitted to 12 persons who are more intelligent, more impartial, or more competent to decide it than you are, or that more or clearer evidence will be produced at another trial. With all this in mind, it is your duty to decide this case if you can do so conscientiously. In order to make a decision more attainable, the law always imposes the burden of proof on the Commonwealth to establish every essential element of each indictment beyond a reasonable doubt. If you are left with a reasonable doubt as to any essential element of any indictment, then the defendant is entitled to the benefit of that doubt and must be found not guilty on that indictment. In conferring together, you ought to give proper respect to each other's opinions and listen with an open mind to each other's arguments. Where there is disagreement, those jurors who would find the defendant not guilty should consider whether the doubt in their own minds is a reasonable one, if it makes no impression upon the minds of the other jurors, who are equally honest and equally intelligent, who have heard the same evidence with the same attention, who have an equal desire to arrive at the truth, and who have taken the same oath as jurors. At the same time, those jurors who would find the defendant guilty ought seriously to ask themselves whether they may not reasonably doubt the correctness of their judgment if it is not shared by other members of the jury. They should ask themselves whether they should distrust the weight or sufficiency of the evidence if it has failed to convince the minds of their fellow jurors beyond a reasonable doubt. I will now ask you, Mr. Foreman, and members of the jury to return to your deliberations with these instructions in mind.
Wow.
And as with my final instructions and the supplemental instructions I sent in, I will send in a copy of this charge as well.
Reasonable doubt.
All right, so may that be marked, Madam Court Reporter, please. All right, so thank you. We'll send you folks back out to deliberate.
All rise for the court, please.
Ugh.
Follow me.
I think everyone just thought that they would walk out with this. This is a circus. I don't know how they could do this again, how the Commonwealth could do this again. How could they? This is a frickin' circus, the whole thing.
Yep.
The poor woman. She's been crying. She's still crying. It's heartbreaking.
You are muted. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Wow. Well, that was exciting, not?
Was it, though?
Jeez.
And I didn't really catch the gist of it, but it seemed to me like she's saying, figure it out.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it doesn't matter if you're deadlocked. So if one person is never going to change their mind because he's an ex-cop, what do? You're never going to change his mind.
No.
So you're just going to sit here forever. So this is Karen Reed trial year 5.
And if he's an ex-cop, he's not going to go home. Like, he's not going to be like, no, I'm not going to cave. I'm
Yeah.
not going to.
Yep.
If that's true. I don't know if that's true or not. Seems weird.
Wow. Well, it's everybody's thoughts out there. Like, what? I'm kind of dumbfounded by this,
Yeah.
but
You've been in their jury verdict. There's no jury verdict. There's no.
well, that's what they said. That's what she told me.
No, I didn't say that. Nobody said that. Everyone's like, oh my God, there's a real jury verdict.
I got people's hopes up for nothing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, everyone. I apologize.
Alrighty. Well, I guess we will keep watching and come back on when we can.
It's crazy.
This is crazy and kind of exciting.
I just want to move on with my life. Oh my God. All right. Thanks, guys. We'll be back with maybe a real
If there is
jury
something,
verdict.
I don't think so. I think they're deadlocked.
Yeah.
Jury number 7 appears to be crying, and all 11 others jurors look frustrated. That's what.
So who's that juror? Who's the one that's crying?
She's crying because they're like, you can't go. And the other
I want to
11,
go home.
you can't go home.
Who's the juror that looks smug? That's the question.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. I want to know all their states of mind.
He's
Jury.
like, I'm from Boston. I don't give up.
So if it's, I don't see an ex-cop crying while the 11 other are frustrated.
Like,
That doesn't track to me. That would be weird.
yeah.
An ex-cop would be crying.
I don't know. He could miss his cop buddies, his cop family. Just wants to get to work.
Juror number 7 took a deep breath and looked up to the ceiling when Judge Canone instructed them to go back and deliberate. Either she is really frustrated with one or more of the other jurors who is holding out with guilty, or she is the lone guilty vote.
And we
Yes.
could be reading into this too. It could be that there's only one not guilty vote.
Yeah, it could be. That would be weird, but
I agree, but we have to look at all sides of this.
they're saying she is acting noticeably different from the other jurors who are not showing any emotions.
I don't know what that means.
So the other jurors are frustrated. And
Yeah,
she's
but she
crying.
yeah. It just that means nothing to me, to be honest. All that means to me is that she's handling the stress differently than anybody else. Now,
And
whether
she could be an ex-cop though.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
yeah.
Oh yeah. It's more of the standpoint of everybody acts differently
Yeah, that's weird.
under stress,
Weird.
and I'm sure like everybody just wants to get back to their lives.
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I think we will come back if we can.
All right, thanks everyone.